see you later.
Hey, we're talking about all things geek up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun.
I don't know what camera to look at. There's so many cameras in here now. I don't know what to do anymore.
So you may not see a whole bunch of cameras right now.
They can see it on Instagram. So I put it up on Instagram. So if they're
Yeah.
following us on Instagram, they can see you in the process of creating this Frankenstein monstrosity.
So we have 6 cameras now, all at once.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go through them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the BTS one?
This is behind the scenes, so you can see Aaron and I.
So I think it's interesting for everybody to get to see this because they don't know how big the studio is. And I think that they think that this is a really big place, and it's not. It's a little tiny...
I'm a big man crammed today.
It's half of what used to be a garage, basically. Yeah. And so Vincent and Aaron are pretty close together. And so when I produce, when Aaron's not here, Vincent and I are like right there, which is why it's kind of weird. Because normally we're across the room from each other.
Yeah, I can almost like high five Aaron.
Like if your arms
Actually,
were a
we
little
just-
bit,
we did high five each other.
The lead.
Just a little bit, not
So
much.
here's your together cam.
So I don't know what that does. What is
So that shows all of us right now. So, but we have 2 more angles of you and I. There's a close-up of me, and then there's a close-up of you.
So now I really have to take care of my skin and do my makeup because there's close-ups of me.
Yeah.
Dear God in heaven.
You're on close up now.
Oh my God.
Now Vince is on
Hi.
close up.
Vince loves it. Vince loves himself, so I'm sure all of these camera angles are like really exciting for him. I'm not a fan. And then there was one more that like shows kind of all of our collectibles and stuff.
Oh wait, what?
Or did you take that one out?
No, I took that one out because that one's doing a close-up of you.
Oh, I thought you wanted to show I don't want a close-up of me. We should show everybody the collectibles. That was more cool than my face.
Well, we'll work on it. It's a work in progress.
I thought we were going to show you guys all the collectibles because what you can see behind me is like nothing compared to like Aaron
Everything
knows,
that we have,
compared to what all's in here.
Yeah.
Like
There's a lot.
all of my stuff, all of the Star Wars stuff. So
I mean, on the close up, you get a lot of it though, like right behind you. You
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
a lot.
there's a lot. And sorry, it's dusty because I dust during spring break and summer and sometimes during Christmas. But
So I've been having an issue with one of my webcams, so I had to like delete a whole webcam in order to get this to work. So I used to use one Logitech Brio.
Logitech. And the Logitech was faced towards Aaron.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you would see the producer, you would see Aaron, and you would see kind of like a glitch, like ever so often. So now you don't see the glitch anymore.
Well, and I think I noticed the glitch when I was trying to produce when it was just you and I for a little while,
Yeah.
when we were still doing it on Fridays without Aaron. And I was like, why is it doing that? But I don't know anything about tech.
Yeah. I got a really good deal on an HDMI capture card.
And that's how you can run all these cameras because
Yeah.
yeah.
So the 4 extra cameras that I have like an action cam, and then I have 3 other HDMI cameras.
I don't know. Aren't the Razors HDMI cameras?
No, those are USB 3.0.
Oh, okay.
And they all do 1080p, 60 frames per minute.
Okay.
Per second.
So the Razors.
I was like, per minute,
per
kinda
second.
slow.
Yeah, that's kind of slow. Per second.
So the Razors, what we used to have when it was just like
Right.
the stuff that was on you and I, and then now all of this monstrosity that's up here, it's everywhere. It's beautiful. You guys think it's beautiful,
But
like,
actually,
Vince
but
has
what's
been
actually
so excited
cool.
all week.
Yeah, but what's actually cool is I can actually see you this time, because some of the tripods that I have that are more like almost monopods,
Yeah.
but they're kind of like just at the bottom, so they take up less space. So I can actually like see you now where before I couldn't. I was always like Colleen?
Well, yeah, that was the other thing you were really excited about aside from the cameras when you found these, and you were like, they're like kind of like selfie sticks, but like with feet at the bottom. And he was all excited
Well, you
about
can
them,
carry it as a selfie stick because you can close it all down and then hold it, and it's like maybe 12 inches.
Yeah, it's probably really good for people that are doing TikTok stuff and everything because it's really probably modular and mobile, and so you can get it out there and get going and do all your little videos.
So each one, I got 2 of them. I think I'm going to get more just because of the space. They take up so much less space
Yeah,
than all
because
my
if we
other
could
tripods.
have one over here for y'all's BTS one rather than this big old tripod, that would probably be good.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is when all the tripods are splayed out and you have the big ones, when the moose comes through and he's being quiet, and so I'm trying not to say his name or anything to like get him going. When he comes through, he's a big boy and he doesn't know he's a big boy. And so he's knocking cameras over and everything and bumping into everything.
But
So
now
it's
that they're all together, he
nicer.
just kind of like stays away from it.
Yeah. So if we could get this one particular one like on a little bit smaller tripod, that would be even better to give him a break from that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we're, new year, new us, new studio setup. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see how it works.
I don't know about the whole new us thing. I'm too old to like be trying to like change. Y'all can either like me like I am, or you can get off my lawn.
But these are some of the things that we're going to do, and then we're able to do a lot more with this, just because we're able to do a lot more angles than we were before.
Yeah.
A lot more angles than before. And it's also going to help when we get guests in, because we can like focus in on the guests better than we were to.
Yeah, because if y'all saw FlingCon and they had 4 guys here, bless their hearts, they were so sweet, and they just kind of stacked up here behind one another.
Oh,
but
gosh,
really,
yeah.
with the other camera, we on the other side of this room, because the room goes this way. We have like a whole couch and where our video games are, so we could really potentially set up 2 more guests over there and just kind of talk to them, and they could be on the camera over there on the couch as well. So we could have then multiple people in studio.
I'm going to need to get like a 20-foot long HDMI cable.
Yeah.
Which took me like a week to get in when it was supposed to be same-day delivery on just 4 HDMI cables.
The thing that's good about Vincent, though, is he's a Karen, and he'll complain, and he'll get money taken off.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he'll get
Yeah.
refund, and he'll get like free stuff, and he'll complain because like if you are
Well, I
messing
had
up,
like 4 cables, and I think it was like $9, and they gave me like $5 off.
yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, so now it's like $1.
$1 a
Yeah,
cable,
like $4,
take it. Yeah, and that's okay. Like sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask to try to say, hey, you've inconvenienced me, because we really wanted them for the show this week, and then they had said we're actually bumping it back, and you might not get it even until next week. And so he was like, okay, well that's not okay, because it was supposed to be next day delivery. I ordered it on like Wednesday, and I kind of needed it Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, I did it when I got my capture card, my new capture card, which is it's a quad HDMI capture card, so it captures 4 different HDMI sources, all in one card.
Right.
I ended up getting that for like $180, and then it was supposed to be brand new, and it came in and it was an open box. So when I opened it, so it's saying, well, this was an open box. This wasn't a brand new one. I was like, okay, we'll give you a $20 credit. Okay.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Exactly.
So while Vince has been excited about like technology and everything, I don't know if you can see my little earrings right here that I made with my close-up. Now that you have a close-up. So these are little Smurfs. These were actually little action figures that you could buy at one time. You could buy all these minis. So I got these and I made these into earrings, and then I went to the Dollar Tree and got the little figures that you can get from the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, you made more than just that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
So I made Donatello, and the set is Donatello and Donatello. And then I made Mickey Mouse, and it's Mickey Mouse and Mickey Mouse. And then I did one that's Snow White on one side and Cinderella on the other side. And then I found some Harley Quinn symbols, and I made some Harley Quinn ones that are Harley Quinn symbols. So I've been like making some little earrings out of this. I like these cute little figures. There's a lady on TikTok who I see who wears the Adorables, and I was like, oh, that's cute. I don't have the Adorables per se. Well, I do, but that's another story. But I was like, I have figures at home already, and I have a bunch of these keychains, and the little keychains already come. These didn't have it. I had to buy the little screws and screw the little thing in there to make the earring. But the keychains come with the little screw already in the top of the figure.
Yeah.
And so really, you're just adding the loop and you're adding the earring.
So, but did you had to like drill a hole in there, or how did you just pushed it in?
What I found is easiest is I just use like a stick pin, and I put the stick pin in there and kind of waller it out a little bit so that the screw can fit in there pretty nicely. And once you've got the screw in, it just screws into the plastic pretty easily. So
You should do like a how-to.
yeah. The only thing that was
sometime,
difficult
yeah.
was ding dang Mickey Mouse with his big old ears up there. I couldn't get the thing. Donatello, easy. Smurfs, easy. They don't have big giant ears on the top of their head. Mickey, not so easy to screw a screw into the top of his head. But yeah, it was fun.
Better well made. Well made, yeah.
Fun took no time at all.
Well, you did like how many pair?
5. I did 5 pair.
5 different pair.
In like less than
Yeah.
an hour. Yeah. And it's just
Nice.
and at Hobby Lobby you just buy the earring pieces and the
Yeah.
connectors and that's it. And you can buy as fancy ones. I did different ones. Like I did fancier ones and different ones because I had bought different ones. I don't know. I'm one of those ADHD. I don't have ADHD, but I'm like the ADHD people who like, oh, I'm going to do this hobby. Oh, I'm going to do this hobby. Oh, I'm going to do this hobby. So I have a bunch of stuff up in my craft room. So, yeah. So that was what I did this week while Vincent was installing 9 million cameras. Because Vincent didn't get the time off, but I got some time off this week because we had, here in Texas, if you're not from Texas, especially in South Texas, like we are in San Antonio, if we think it might potentially freeze and rain, we're not allowed on the streets because we don't know how to drive. Like, just don't.
Well, yeah.
Just don't. It's not good. And so to put
nobody knows how to drive in the...
To put children in a bus and try to send them to school with all the crazies in this town that don't know how to drive.
Well, in our area, we didn't experience a lot of the freezing over of the roads. That was more of kind of like north side, northeast area, and then a little bit higher.
But my district is so large that
it encompasses
parts that were frozen like that. So when part of the district is off, the whole district is off.
And not all teachers live in the same area as where their school is. So.
Right. Like there are teachers that work at my school that live in Bernie, Texas, and it was frozen in Bernie. Like there was no way they were coming. So if you don't have enough teachers, and we're already short on bus drivers, and we've got 3 kids to a seat in the buses. Forget about it. Like they're.
But we digress a whole bunch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we're talking about
our lives.
So I'm wearing Star Wars. So of course we've been watching the Bad Batch since it came on.
I absolutely love the Bad Batch, and it was so funny because I was explaining it to Vincent's dad the other day, because he hasn't watched it yet, and I was saying, they're clones, but they're like clones that didn't go right, and they were trying to like enhance them or whatever, and they didn't get made right, and so they're the Bad Batch. And then his eyes like lit up, and he was like, "I get it. They're the Bad Batch of clones." And I'm like, "Exactly." So it was really, really cute to explain that to him.
Yeah.
But one of the things I really like about this season is they aged Omega.
Yeah.
Which is interesting when it's a cartoon. You don't think people might not notice those small details. And Omega, she hasn't aged a lot.
No, not a lot.
But enough that you can tell that she's aged some.
Yeah.
Yeah? And she's matured some in the time since last season to this season. So I really liked that they gave us that. It's just those little nuances that they do in these Star Wars shows. That it's just little subtle things that keep you interested, that keep you realizing that it's worth your time and effort because they put in their time and effort, I guess is what I think.
Yeah.
What did you think of seeing Crosshairs?
I didn't think I thought we were done with him. We were going to see him again. And that's kind of cool. I think
such a shit. Excuse my French,
is.
but he's such a shit. And I mean, rightfully so, right? He's supposed to be. But it's nice to have him as the bad brother, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy you love to hate,
But I don't know. I'm kind of like getting the sense that he may be kind of missing his brothers a little bit. Don't you kind of get that a little bit?
I don't know. I feel like he's so driven by, like, it's black or white for him, right? And the other guys, there's gray area, and they live within the gray area.
You see a little bit of conflict in him.
A little bit, but I think he's just always going to kind of be.
Well, I think ultimately he's going to be
a nemesis.
Yeah.
It was. If you haven't watched this week, we're going to spoil it for you, so mute us or something for a couple of minutes. But it was really cute to see the little Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah.
It was
nice. because I think they brought that's the same Wookiee that was in the Clone Wars.
I think so. Yeah, but I'd have to go back and watch it. I've forgotten some of the stuff that happened in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then from the Clone Wars, like, the droids are my favorites. And so we had a whole Bad Batch, like, droid episode too. And the droids are stupid and funny.
Because one of the ones I saw the Wookiee in was the one where I was telling you, because they were all looking for their kyber crystals.
Uh-huh.
I think he found a green kyber crystal for his.
So when he was a youngling and he just happened to make it past, yeah. But I like that they acknowledged, because Omega doesn't know anything about what's going on. So she's kind of like, if you haven't seen Clone Wars and you don't know all this other stuff, she kind of helps you fill in the gaps because they have to explain it to her.
Right.
And so the Wookiee's afraid of the Bad Batch. And she's like, no, they're friends. And he's like, look, he has a reason to be afraid of us. Like, you don't know what happened with Order 66.
Yeah, Order 66.
Like, we didn't do it, but our brothers in arms did.
Yeah.
And so he has every reason to be wary of us.
But it was
I like
cool
that.
to see, like, acrobatic Wookiee.
It was cool to see an acrobatic Wookiee. Yeah, because he was really good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm still traumatized because I love the younglings. And then Vincent reminded me that Anakin killed them all. And, so it's nice to see the younglings every once in a while. And I'm like, no, wait, don't go into battle. You're not ready yet. Don't do that.
But luckily, he was one that got away.
Yeah, and he did good, and he found his people. So it's nice to see that, too, because I think they're giving us some places where they're planting Jedi throughout the universe.
Yeah.
So that this can be something that we see as a continuation of not just Luke's story and Leia's story and Anakin's story and Ahsoka's story, right? But that there are other Jedi out there that have lasted, that have found their way, that maybe have trained others, that have found people that are Force sensitive. So I think a lot of people that live in the Star Wars universe that love it want to keep it to that storyline of Luke and Leia and Anakin. And that's not it.
It's going to be more, because I think I've heard that they're going to try to do more with Rey in a cartoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in an animation. So to see, I don't think Daisy is going to be playing that character anymore.
No, I think that she had said that she didn't want to. And I think the whole purpose of her character was to try to get our generation to let go of the fact that we felt like the Jedi story was this big.
Yeah.
And for us to let the Jedi story be this big.
It's a whole galaxy.
This big. Yeah. So I think Rey was supposed to be that link so that we can see it's time for us to move past Luke and Leia and Anakin. And we loved them and we loved Ben and everything, but it's time to move past them, and there are other Jedi. And there are other trials and tribulations, and there are other things going on in the galaxy.
So talking more about Star Wars, Ahsoka is coming out this year, isn't it?
And the new Mando, we saw there was kind of like a short clip.
So supposedly in Ahsoka, Hayden Christensen is going to play Darth Vader again.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to get to see that again. So
I'm excited to see that because I have always liked him as Anakin. And I liked him in Obi-Wan as Darth Vader.
That was really cool when you got to like hear his voice.
Oh, both their voices.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that still.
Yeah. I know people didn't like him, and I wish they had seen what I saw, because I felt like I saw the story that they were trying to tell of this conflicted kid.
And that's why he became Darth Vader.
Right, and why he becomes what he becomes, because he can't let go of all the emotions that he has inside.
I understood that perfectly.
Yeah, and he looks
Because of it.
constipated all the time because he's emotionally constipated, basically.
Because
You know?
he has to be.
Yeah,
He needs to poop.
he's got to poop. Pooping makes it
Poop
better.
for the Force.
But then speaking of the Star Wars universe, and then if we think about Mando, so the actor who plays Mando, who I thought was no longer going to play Mando,
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Pascal, is now in The Last of Us
Yes.
on
Mm-hmm.
HBO Max. Have you been watching that, Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, heck yeah,
Oh, yeah.
us too. Although Vincent slept through the last episode.
Yeah, I played the game, so I have to watch it.
So I've never
We've
played
never
the
played
game.
the game.
Never played the game. So didn't know what was gonna. I mean, I knew the premise, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's heard of the game at least.
Yeah.
Well, I only knew that it was about zombies, but is the
So,
fungus a thing?
That's the clickers are the zombies. It's not a true zombie. It's a clicker. That's what they're called in that one. And the opening shot you get in episode 1 from like the 60s, that's the virus. So essentially, I don't know the name of the fungus, the one that affects the ants and makes them go crazy, and then they go up in like a tree, and then the fungus spouts. That's the fungus that starts everything.
It's.
I don't know if you knew the name or not.
I don't remember the name. It's a longer name with Koki Cocker.
Yeah, and that's what causes the outbreak, and that's
What's
what it
fantastic
is.
is that's true science.
Yeah,
It's
I love
frightening
it.
science. It is truly frightening science. Like when I was watching it, I was like, whoever came up with this is freaking scary and twisted. Because
yeah.
this is some scary crap.
And I want to meet him.
If this were to really happen to us, we would be
We're
so
extinct.
screwed.
We're
We'd
done.
be so screwed.
Yeah,
Like this is so true.
because the only thing that could stop it is fire at that point. That would be literally the only thing. You can't shoot it, can't do anything because it's a spore. You shoot it, oh look, you just sent more spores in the air. Crud.
I know. I was like, fungi reproduce by spores. It's just, and there they go, and they're in the wind, and they could land anywhere. Like, it's scary. My
You just
biggest
eat athlete's foot medicine.
that kills a different kind of fungus.
Wrong fungus.
Wrong fungi.
I said it to make it funny.
Oh, to make it funny.
It
Okay.
makes
But it's scary, not funny. But what I was concerned about, and this is what kind of started to wear me down with The Walking Dead, is The Walking Dead was so much about how horrible mankind is. And we know we are. We live it every day, right? So my concern was that The Last of Us was going to drag us down into that as well.
It will.
And I thought, I don't know if I can watch this because I'm just not in a place where that's something I can handle. But then they gave us a little bit of a reprieve with that episode with Bill and Frank.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I've had a little bit of a reprieve. So maybe I can go on, you know?
Yeah, and that was the biggest difference from the game is that episode.
And they had talked about it. The writers had talked about it and said, like, Bill is in the game, but Frank is dead by the time you meet him in the game.
Yeah.
And it's insinuated that they were potentially lovers, but it's not like outright.
It's enough to say, okay, yes, they were gay.
Yeah.
But the relationship's different in the game because Frank, what you find is a letter from Frank to Bill after he's dead, and Frank basically tells me he hates him. That he hated everything about him because in the game, Bill never left that survivalist mindset.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Frank wanted to live and not just be a survivor.
And you kind of see that in the episode. I feel like
Right.
you kind of see
They
that
caught
that
it
turmoil.
enough.
They caught that to where, you know, Frank's like, I just want to fix up the damn boutique and mow the yard every once in a while.
Right.
Like, can we just have some normalcy?
Normalcy is I hold my weapon in front of Joe.
And Bill's like, I'm going to shoot this guy.
Well, be done. That was the biggest difference. The first episode really hit everything almost perfect to the game. The second one did a good job too. From what I've heard, is the first season is going to be the first game, and they only made 2 games, so it's like
After that,
hopefully-
they'll open up the storyline to whatever they want.
yeah, and I kind of hope they stop, and it's just like, hey, we did 2 and we're done, like we told our story.
okay.
That's what I'm hoping.
Did they actually show him die though?
Bill,
Yeah, they didn't show him die.
he poisoned the bottle of wine.
Bill and Frank are dead.
Yeah, in the game, I don't think he dies in the game.
He doesn't die in the game,
No.
but
But
in
they
the show.
don't. He says that to him, but we don't actually see them both die. We know
could
he
argue.
mixes it into his wine glass.
I thought it was in the wine bottle too, because he makes a comment. He's like,
He
He
put it in the
says
bo-
that.
but we don't see him mix
But
it
we
in the
don't
bottle.
see him mix it in the bottle.
Yeah.
But
could
I
argue.
think
And could it not have been enough that he put in the bottle to kill him?
but all the dust and everything that's there when they show up, and it's
Well,
blatant.
maybe he just left because he couldn't be there.
I don't think he likes Joel enough though, because he even says in the letter, "I still don't care for you."
I still don't like you.
But he gave him a car and the battery and
I
everything.
think he was so
wanted.
old, and he had lived his life, and he loved Frank, and he just said, rather than get hunted
But you know,
down,
when you don't actually see something means
Yes.
means there's the chance that
there's
they're
a
out
chance
there
that
doing
he's still out
something.
there doing something
But he's
else.
so old at this point, I don't think that he would be a viable
they kinda
character.
aged him a lot.
They aged him a lot, yeah.
But Nick Offerman and I don't know the other actors' name. They were amazing in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I am curious on where the show's gonna go because I don't know how much of the game you know. It goes very, very, very dark. There is a scene,
I heard that it goes like really dark, even with the little girl.
there's a scene that there's a bunch of men trying to do things to her,
Yeah.
and you literally are playing as her trying to hide from them, and then you have I think it's the first time or only time she actually kills somebody in the game. Because once you escape enough, you're able to come up and you stab them once and then you finish them off. And that's like where she breaks as a child, you could say, because the innocence is gone now.
Yeah.
Like you know what they were going to do to her before they basically cannibalized her.
I got a feeling that we're getting ready to come. They're building us up to that. They're trying to prepare us for that because Joel's already talked to us kind of about like these raiders and these cannibals and these people that are out there. And we know from seeing other movies like this and we know from reading other literature like this that that's what we assume is going to happen to mankind. There's going to be these people that are going to take it to wherever they feel like they need to take it at all costs.
And there's I think they kind of hinted towards it too, especially with the cannibalism, because in the game you find piles of shoes and that's where the cannibals are. And in the beginning of the show, I think it's like in episode 1, they show a bunch of shoes for sale. And I'm like, was that a hint that the people probably ate those people? And now they're selling
the shoes.
That's what I'm wondering, because there's later piles. She'll find piles and Joel doesn't like want to comment on it in the game. He's like, mm-mm. But he knows those are cannibals. He knows,
yeah.
And then later when they find the encampment, that's when he's like, we can't stay here. We can't be here. Because they open the barn doors and it's just shoes everywhere. And he's like, that's the sign of like they are cannibals.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I enjoy it. I think the dynamic between them two is really cool. I like it. I think they did well.
Yeah, I think they're doing really well. Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if they're gonna show that Ellie's actually a lesbian, because in the game she ends up being one. That I was actually having a conversation with Adam and his daughter actually about this. So I was like, I'll be curious if they're actually gonna like pull that off still or not.
What's funny that we get to see 2 Game of Thrones characters come together again.
Yeah, well, like you said, they must have some
A contract with HBO.
must have some good ironclad contracts with some of their actors, right? It's like, you owe me.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of it is their chemistry is really good. So, because a lot of the times you can have good stories. Like, I don't like Fear the Walking Dead. I never got into it. I don't. Vince likes it, but I didn't like the actors at the very beginning. I thought their chemistry was bad. I just didn't like them. I rooted for the zombies to eat them. So for me, it's very much about the actors and the chemistry and what I see going on. Like, I'm not even going to lie. When Tess died, I was like, thank God. Like, let's get rid of her. Like, I like her as an actress, but like her character agitated me for some reason. She just got on my nerves, and I was like, God, I hope they kill her. And they did.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
I stopped watching Walking Dead. I don't know. It's just Walking Dead, Fear all that. I lost interest.
Oh my God, and there's so many spinoffs right now for The Walking Dead. So we'll see how they do up against The Last of Us and see can they. I think because we have Negan
they're all of the shows are supposed to converge eventually. They're all supposed to meet.
Oh.
And
Last of Us can't. I mean, Walking Dead was, yeah.
All the Walking Dead spinoffs and everything.
Can't they all just like go into a gunfight and just no one wins? Hey, this is how we end it.
Except Daryl. Daryl has to like be there at the end, crying.
Well, then he has to go into what's that other movie that he did with the brothers?
Oh yeah.
It's got to somehow lead into that at the end of it.
Well, no, that's who he was before the zombie apocalypse.
yeah.
And now he's in the zombie apocalypse. That's right.
This is after
Boondock
that
Saints.
film.
Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
And there was a sequel to that too.
Yeah, there's a second
I don't know.
one.
There's very much a part of me that just wants to see the humans like make a nice compound, be kind to each other, raise some food, and just like support each other through the zombie apocalypse. I mean, I know that humanity's
That's
not.
a boring show.
Right.
I know, but I think
You need
just
the
'cause-
conflict.
I think just because we live so much in the real world, I just don't want my shows to be like the real world.
I want someone to write this comic now or a book that's a peaceful zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Everyone's doing well. Everyone
Everybody's
likes each other.
fine. They're nice to each other.
Some
It's
people
good.
die because it's accidents happen, but no
Right.
one's like trying to murder anybody.
Nobody's trying to eat each other, kill each other
It's
for
real easy
supplies.
because zombies are actually super, super, super slow.
Right, and
Right.
eventually they're
There's-
like
Because they're all decaying and dried out.
they decay and dry out. Like in the arid, you would just go to some place that's arid and they all mummified, and then they try to move and they crack and
Oh, I liked it. Was it the World War Z book? They froze up north. They just waited them out in the ice, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
they're frozen.
done. Yeah, I feel like we give zombies a lot more credit than is due because the bodies would break down like they would, right?
And I think that's why I like Last of Us, because they show clickers breaking down. But like there's parts in the game where they see them that's like decayed like that, and they're like, put your mask on because it's releasing the spores essentially as it's decayed.
Right.
And I like that idea because like that's what's gonna happen. They're eventually the body's gonna break down because there's nothing left.
Right.
I don't know. I like that. So I think I like the clickers and stuff more than I like zombies.
Like
almost. Yeah.
like a regular zombie. So yeah.
Because like you said, it's that science. Like this could happen. Like in a few hundred years or whatever, we don't know. It could just all of a sudden evolve and say, okay, I'm gonna now infect humans.
Well, yeah, and they're talking about like, they haven't needed to evolve to be able to live inside of a human body, which has a higher temperature than a lot of other things. And like insects, obviously we have a higher temperature than insects, and that's what they normally are inside of and parasitic on. But then all of a sudden we've got global warming and temperatures are rising and they start to evolve because that's what happens. Things like fungi and stuff that reproduce rapidly, they evolve more rapidly than we do because we take longer to reproduce.
Yeah.
And so they could, in essence, reproduce and genetically modify themselves over time
So, because
to live in our environment.
you being a teacher knowing that, did that sound like it was all possible, that whole beginning part though? Because like I watch it and I'm like, oh, that's cool. They actually gave the full explanation, but was it close enough really, like to reality?
Absolutely.
Oh wow,
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people don't realize that fungi are kind of similar to bacteria and viruses, and they're less like trees and grasses, although grasses too can evolve pretty quickly because they have a shorter lifespan than like a tree, where a tree takes a really long time to evolve because of its long lifespan, and we take longer to evolve because of our lifespan and our gestation of our young. But things like bacteria and viruses, they're reproducing and reproducing and reproducing, just like insects. Insects can evolve really quickly too because they reproduce so fast. And so, yeah, that fungi could evolve to be okay in 98.6 degrees, and then if that was true, they could live in us.
That's
Crazy. So what is everybody's thoughts on what's happening with the DC universe?
I didn't know there was
Because of
anything.
That they're all
Because
on
of-
fire.
That they're going
Because of
crazy?
Ezra Miller and all that, you mean?
No.
Oh.
No. Because of James Gunn.
Well, because James Gunn just put something out that he was like, oh yeah, I love Ezra Miller, the kid who's the Flash, the one who's a crazy psycho who like tried to get a little boy and stuff, like
thing, whatever. all
did
that
some
other
kind
stuff.
of weird freaky stuff. Like
He kidnapped some underage girl to like groom her, right, or something. There's
I
a
thought it was
whole-
an underage boy.
Was it boy or girl?
Yeah, I
don't know.
think so.
Well, I don't even know what side Ezra's on, honestly, anymore.
Who knows? But I think that there are certain things that as an actor, as a public figure, you shouldn't be allowed to do. And like maybe kidnapping kids and trying to groom them to be your sex slaves is one of them. And so to have the director come out and say, well, he's the top-notch guy. I like him a lot. Nope.
I kind of liked him as the Flash, though.
I didn't. That kid is creepy AF.
After-
He was good in Harry Potter movies because he was supposed to be creepy. But
I like after Robert made me think about how he runs. I can't like him anymore. The whole
No. Well,
nobody runs this way. And Robert no one runs like that. I was like, Oh my god, I never freaking thought of that. No one.
I
this is
couldn't stand
ridiculous.
him. I've always hated him as the Flash, and maybe it's because I like Grant
But I
so
liked
much.
him. I liked him his awkwardness as the Flash.
It was okay, but I don't know. There is just something. There is like something like
Off.
picking up on
I
the
mean,
creepy
there's something
factor.
off with
creepy
him.
pedo uncle weirdo.
Well, I don't
something.
know if it's
I don't know what
a
it is.
pedo feeling I get from him.
I don't know what it is. There's something creepy about him.
Were you going about that, or are we going about like their new plan with the other 5 movies and 5
Yeah,
shows?
I'm talking about the other plan with
Okay.
with the other
Which way to
movies. They're
go?
supposed to be going and redoing everything.
Yeah.
Like
Look, you know what?
Super-
Without Henry Cavill, just stop.
Henry Cavill's out. They're
Give
gonna go with a younger Superman. But they're saying right now that there's not. That doesn't mean that they're not gonna revisit Henry Cavill as Superman later.
An Elseworld movie or Elsewhere
Yeah.
movie, which is so dumb.
Whatever.
They're going to confuse people with that, I think.
Well, I mean, when you do with the with Flashpoint, like
You can separate it, and they're going to have to put that this is Elseworld Superman or whatever to keep it as that world. I don't know. Because they greenlit Batman 2 with what's his name? It's Chinese tiny vampire.
Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
You
there
know
go.
what? And he was I really wanted to hate him, and
he was really good.
he was really good.
did good.
And unfortunately, I really liked Twilight. Oh, I'm sorry.
He was a really good Batman.
He was a good Batman.
But we didn't get a lot
He
of Bruce.
sucked as a Bruce Wayne.
I want to see more of his Bruce Wayne to see if they can give him a better attitude.
I just need Henry Cavill. I don't
Yeah,
care who
he's
any of
gone.
these other people are. Y'all are stupid. Henry Cavill
Here's-
is Superman. Look at the man.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at him.
Well, look, they threw Brendan Roth aside, and he was like Christopher Reeve's lookalike. Like he
Yeah.
could enter a contest and win it,
Yeah.
and they threw him to the side. I mean,
He would have
that's
been
what they
fantastic. They could have kept going with him too.
do. And that's why I
Well,
like
DC
it was
makes
cool
mistake
when they
after
did
mistake.
when they were
crossover event.
doing the crossover event, and then
he
they
got his goodbye. That was
as Superman.
Yeah.
that was like the last thing I think I watched when it comes to that CW stuff was that because I wanted to see Brendan
Yeah.
Roth one more time as
Yeah.
Superman.
I really liked him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. But yeah, I don't.
I just feel like DC just makes a mistake. And then to fix their mistake, they make another mistake. And then to fix
Well,
their mistake, they make a bigger mistake.
They used to have better shows, and now they don't anymore.
Right. At least we could have said, well, at least their shows on CW are better than anything Marvel's putting out. But
Or
now that
animated.
Marvel's
Yeah.
putting stuff out on Disney, they can't compete. They can't compete.
I think the problem I have is they're already, because so me and Robert talked about this on our podcast. They're already trying to link everything together. Where he said it right. Like when Iron Man came out, it was just like, let's see what happens. And the post-credit scene was never heard of to do stuff like that. And it was literally just for the fans. It was just like, hey, we're doing this for you. We weren't really trying to connect everything just yet. And then
Right.
as stuff came on, it's like, we can connect everything. We can make an Avengers film. But when I read the synopsis on like all the stuff that they're bringing out, what is it? It's Superman, and then there's Power Girl's getting her own movie, right?
Yeah.
I think. And then it was Booster Gold gets a TV show. Who are the other movies? Batman. There was Brave and the Bold movie. I forgot the other 2 movies, and then you have a Lanterns, Booster Gold, The Authority, Waller, and I forgot the other one now off the top of my head. But when you read the Green Lantern one, theirs is supposed to tie everything together. So so it's like one of those, you can watch everything else, but you're gonna have to watch Green Lanterns to tie it all together. Because apparently whatever villain they're gonna fight, I guess, is gonna infect everybody's movies and stuff. And it's like, why are we trying to connect them? Like, just let them do their own thing for right now, and then kind of do what Marvel did. Just let them do their thing, integrate a little bit. Like, oh, here's Batman, here's Superman. They all know who the other one is, and it's like, hey, there is a threat coming that we need to fight.
Well, they had started to do that with when the 2 Flashes met each other.
I thought we
Oh,
were
yeah.
going to get there.
On
I
DC
thought we were
side.
doing pretty well with Henry Cavill. I thought we were doing pretty well with Bruce. And I thought maybe we were going to get to Batman Beyond with
But here's the thing, they because the fans
with Ben
got
Affleck.
ticked off because Superman killed Zod
Zod, yeah.
when it made sense that he was going to do that because these were his people. This is who he grew up with.
Yeah.
This is who he was protecting.
It's the line Green Goblin says in the first Spider-Man movie. That villain will come with a sadistic choice. And he was like, you could either let me kill him and keep to your way, or kill me and you save him. Either way, Superman loses.
Yeah.
That's all it was, and that's what he did.
And that's the whole point of the heroes is they have to make mistakes, and they have to learn to grow from them. So
Because they're just
can't-
saying like, oh, Superman is just always perfect. Nobody's always perfect.
Nobody's always perfect, and he shouldn't have to be.
And they want to relate to more than just the fans,
Yeah.
the
The
hardcore, fans.
Yeah. Well, see, and I thought they were onto something with Aquaman. They were doing pretty good with him. They started to be onto something with Wonder Woman, and then kind of derailed. But they could probably fix that and come back. Like we'd give her another shot, she could come back, right? So we're kind of invested in those. I thought we were pretty invested in Henry Cavill, so I can see us getting to the Justice League. However, they really didn't flush out the Flash very well. They gave us the show that we all liked, but then don't give us the kid from the show in the movie.
Which everybody wants.
And which everybody wanted.
Yeah.
So why not just go there, right? You've already built an audience. Just go there. And then maybe you can bring in a bigger audience, and then you have them watching and going back on Netflix and stuff and picking up the show and watching the show. Why take this whole deviation from it when you already have a good showing?
Give Colleen the money for her idea,
Right.
DC.
And then of course we
But
want
you're not
Cyborg,
the only one.
and
You're
we
not the
wanna
only
see-
one saying that.
I know, and then we don't.
It's like
get to see-
everybody's been saying that once they saw Grant Gustin as the Flash. He was like, he should be the movie Flash too.
Yep.
Yep.
And then they never give us a chance to get to know Cyborg. They just kind of throw him in. Of course, we all know that he's part of the Justice League, but give us a chance. Either give us a show and let it run for a couple of seasons, or give us a movie.
Give us Stephen Amell as the Green Arrow, but in the movies.
In the movies. Yes,
Well, you
give
could
us...
get John Diggle back too, and he could become John Stewart instead.
Yes.
Because they said Diggle wasn't his last name, really.
But,
Yeah.
and this is what Marvel's doing.
When they alluded to him finding the
That's
ring.
right, because it lands in
They
front of him
did.
and sends him into the van. That's right.
And Marvel's taking the people from the cinematic universe and putting them down into TV and giving us episodic TV. Why can't DC just come from episodic TV and bring it up into the cinematic universe?
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want that cohesion. We want you to bring all the if you want to bring the platforms together, like Aaron's saying that y'all are trying to do, then do it the right way so that we're invested.
And it's easy to me, especially with like Superman and all these guys, if you can take CW and put him over there. Maybe not all the characters, but put Green Arrow in there, and it's like, hey, somebody needs to talk to you. But it's like, why is Green Arrow here? Because he's already been around for like he's probably one of the longest ones we all know.
Right.
And you could go with that rugged, he's been through some stuff, he knows stuff, and he's coming to Batman because they know each other already. It's like, well, billionaires, they all know each other.
Yeah.
Or it's like, hey, Superman, can I talk to you? Who the heck are you? It's like, well, I know I just kind of shoot arrows, but, something simple. Like, just bring it in slowly.
And we've seen that Henry Cavill will come down and do things like The Witcher and stuff, and he'll come down into episodic stuff. So you're telling me you couldn't bring Henry Cavill into a couple of these every once in a while?
Yeah.
So now that we're going to go with the new Superman, have they even considered going with the kid that they have that used to be on Teen Wolf? That's the Superman now?
He's too old.
See, and that's the thing that me and Robert were talking about, and he doesn't like it, and I kind of tend to agree. It seems like Batman's going to be a lot older than Superman in this universe. And it seems like, maybe I'm wrong in the comics, but aren't they always supposed to be relatively like the same age in theory? Because they kind of are supposed to be best friends, and like
They're frenemies.
Yeah, and as
Yeah,
Bruce
but
gets
Superman ages differently.
Right, but you go when he's like 50, Superman still looks like he's 30.
Yeah.
But it's like when they first meet, they don't, aren't they both like the same age roughly? No.
I think Superman's a
Kryptonian
little
type.
bit younger.
Is Superman younger? I thought Superman was older than
No,
Bruce.
he's younger.
So Superman would have been around longer than him, in theory. Because that's what we're trying to figure out, because they're supposed to be like frenemies, But we're getting a Batman who's going to be an adult and have children. And Superman's 20-something, so is he going to be like trying to take Superman under his wing, or what's like, I don't know. I like the idea that when Batman hits 50, yes, Superman still looks like he's 20, 30, but it's like you could see the 50 years or 30 years of
50
friendship
years of,
like that they built up.
Yeah, that
That's
doesn't
the
make
point.
sense. That was never a thing in the comics. Why
That's what I
would
was
Superman
wondering.
be so young and Batman? That doesn't make sense. They are closer
Like, I know he ages slowly, but
Right,
I didn't
right.
know, like...
But they're closer in like on Earth life experience
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
But Batman already has Damian at this point. In the show, the Brave and the Bold show or movie, whatever, Damian's there.
Yeah.
So, and Damian's supposed to be like, what, 10, I think? So it's like, so Batman's got... Even if he had him at 21, he's already 31. And if we're putting Superman at like in his early 20s, it's like, well, now there's a huge difference. And that same Batman literally had Damian at 21, but he probably had him more like 25, 26, because you got to do the whole stuff with the League of Assassins,
Right.
Talia. So it's like, he's got to be in his mid-20s. So now you're putting him closer to 30s and 40s, and Superman's like 20s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have Damian until he's like in his early 30s.
Yeah, at latest, you could say.
Yeah. So,
Because
yeah,
he's supposed
I
to be
don't
a
know.
grizzled Batman by that point. He's supposed to have been through things and sees like some of the errors of stuff he does, and he's trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because Dick is supposed to be in it, Tim, and maybe Jason, but Damian is the one they have announced. But they're saying that the whole family is supposed to come out. I'm like, so that means they're all way older than Superman, and that's, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just afraid that they're going to continue to derail DC, and all we can do is watch the cartoons because that seems to be the only thing they're good at.
Well, we'll see when they release the next movie
The
after
thing
the
is
Flash.
they know that they
Yeah.
have captive audiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to see that. Okay, maybe at this point they've given up and they're like, well, we're never going to be Marvel big. But
that's the thing. They could be. They could be bigger.
Yeah.
well, if they do it right, but obviously they don't want to hire anybody that's going to do it right because I'm still sitting right here.
James Gunn hasn't watched yet. That's why.
Yeah, come on, James
Yeah.
Gunn, get
You
it
got-
together.
watch this
Watch
show.
Geek Out SA, and you'll know what to do.
Somebody tag him, so he's like, why am I watching this?
Why am I watching this?
He's like, oh my God, she has all the ideas.
She has all the answers.
Somebody
Let's
go to San
get her.
Watch at the 40-minute mark.
For the last like 30, 40-minute mark, where he rambled for like how long?
I know I rambled about my life. I'm sorry. I
No.
took up half the show.
Whatever. I think Last of Us took up more.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, it was so interesting.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay.
So
We should probably stop talking because we've been talking for a long time.
So yeah, no, that was our Geekpourri. So we
We just ramble on Geekpourri now that you know.
Yeah, we
just
just-
so you know.
talk about a lot of geek stuff, but it's been like 4 months since we've done Geekpourri. So.
Yeah, Vincent's nice and he lets me do Geekpourri because I really love to ramble and I derail a lot. It's my favorite pastime. And we used to do it all the time, and then when Stuart
No,
was
we would
alive,
do
bless
it
his
like
heart.
once every 2 months.
Okay, but like 5 years ago, every show was a ramble. And then
Yeah.
Stuart. And then Stuart
Then
was like,
Stuart.
guys, I love y'all and I love your rambles, but can we just pick a topic and stick with it? And I was like, but it's so hard. So then they came up with Geekpourri so that I can ramble.
Yeah.
I feel you.
That's what we'll do from now on. So thanks for checking us out. I really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun. If you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell so the next time we go live, you know. But thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and that's Aaron.
Geek Out SA.
SA.